Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're honoring the incredible life and legacy of a true sports icon, Stacey King. Now, as many of you know, King tragically passed away on June 7th, 2026. But his story? It's really unlike any standard sports biography you'll hear. We're looking at a man who deliberately reinvented himself, going from a highly touted draft pick to literally becoming the cultural heartbeat of the Chicago Bulls.
And man, the news broke with absolute shock. Chuck Garfian over at the Chicago Sports Network had the unbelievably tough task of breaking into a broadcast with this chilling announcement. I mean, it was a total shockwave. We got reports from ESPN 1000 host David Kaplan detailing that King suffered a fatal fall at his home. It was just so sudden, and it immediately left this gaping hole, not just in Chicago, but across the entire NBA community.
So let's look at where it all began. Part 1. The college standout. Now, you might be wondering how his path to greatness started. And what's really interesting is that it wasn't a straight line at all. Between 1985 and 1989, at the University of Oklahoma, he actually faced a massive crossroads. After a really tough sophomore tournament loss where his minutes were severely restricted, he seriously thought about transferring out of the program entirely. But instead of running from that adversity, he stayed. He actually worked a construction job one summer just to ground himself and gain some perspective. And wow, did that calculated decision pay off. He came back, led the Sooners to the 1988 NCAA championship game against a Kansas team led by Danny Manning, and earned tournament MVP honors along the way. And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer force of his will. I mean, his senior season wasn't just good, it was historically dominant. He became a consensus first-team All-American, and get this, he averaged 26 points and over 10 rebounds in the intensely physical Big 8 conference. That made his NBA trajectory absolutely undeniable. He was just a force, systematically dismantling opponents and cementing his status as a top-tier NBA prospect. In fact, his impact was so profound that the University of Oklahoma ultimately retired his number 33 jersey.
All right, moving on to part 2, three-time NBA champion.
Let's see how all of this builds into his professional identity. Right out of the gate in that 1989-1990 season, King played all 82 games and earned a spot on the NBA All-Rookie second team. But here is where his story gets really fascinating. Drafted 6th overall, right? Usually, the expectation there is almost always franchise superstardom. Yet, King found himself on a roster absolutely dominated by Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. But instead of fighting for a spotlight that just wasn't there, he adapted. He embraced this crucial role off the bench from 1991 to 1993, providing the exact reliable, versatile minutes they needed to secure 3 consecutive NBA championships. Over a decade-long career spanning 438 regular season games, with stops in Minnesota, Miami, Boston, and Dallas, he proved that understanding your role is just as vital as raw talent.
So, the crucial point we need to take away here is that King's relationship with Chicago wasn't just some brief professional stint. As Bulls president and CEO Michael Reinsdorf noted, it was a deeply rooted connection with the franchise that lasted well over 3 decades. He didn't just play for the Bulls, he genuinely loved being a Bull, and that profound dedication really set the stage for the most impactful phase of his life.
Which brings us to part 3, the voice of Chicago. Now, here is a detail that totally separates King from so many former athletes who try to force their way into television. While he was out there dominating the paint at Oklahoma, King was actually majoring in journalism. This wasn't some backup plan for retirement. It was a carefully laid foundation. So when he started doing pre- and post-game shows in 2004 and eventually joined the broadcast booth full-time for CSN Chicago around 2006, he brought this rare duality. He had the tactical, inside knowledge of a 3-time champion, plus the trained communication skills of a journalist. He was so prepared, and that's exactly how he became an Emmy-winning broadcaster. Of course, you cannot analyze King's broadcast legacy without talking about his immense energy. Give me the hot sauce! I mean, if you've watched a Bulls game at all in the last 20 years, that phrase is permanently burned into your brain. It originated during the Kyle Korver era, and it quickly became his undeniable signature. He had this way of turning a simple three-pointer into a full-blown cultural event. He didn't just announce the game, he felt it, and he made absolutely certain that we felt it too. He also possessed this incredible gift for branding through broadcasting, crafting nicknames like Derrick Rose's Windy City Assassin, Kevin Herter's Red Velvet, or Metasis Buzila's as Lil Boozy Vert. That wasn't just some fun gimmick. It was a highly effective way to bridge the gap between these untouchable millionaire athletes and the everyday fans watching at home. It made watching the game feel less like a formal presentation and totally like you were just hanging out in your living room with a vibrant, knowledgeable friend. Just weeks before his passing, King actually articulated his own broadcast philosophy on his podcast. He said, "It's a fun job. It never seems like work for me. If you couldn't come to a Bulls game, you're entertained on TV." He completely recognized that sports, at its absolute core, is the entertainment business. His primary mission was simply to bring joy directly into the homes of fans, whether the team was winning by 20 or losing by 10. Finally, let's look at part 4. A lasting legacy. Because beyond the microphone, King's footprint was remarkably vast. He's survived by his wife, Dobby, whom he married in 2017, and his 4 sons. He dedicated immense time and resources to charitable causes all throughout Chicago. He even gave back to the grassroots level of the game, stepping in as head coach for the Continental Basketball Association's Rockford Lightning and actually leading them to the championship game in 2002. And as any diehard fan knows for sure, he relentlessly stayed post-game to connect with people, taking photos and just ensuring fans felt seen. He was a multifaceted guy with a constant, unwavering drive to connect with his community. The institutional grief within the Bulls organization right now is just palpable. Chairman Jerry Reinsdorf pointed out that this profound connection spanned more than 3 decades. So the Bulls aren't just losing a former player or an employee here. They are literally losing the fundamental architect of their modern cultural identity. David Kaplan's absolute devastation really highlights a crucial truth about King's immense value to the franchise. Think about it. During the soaring highs of the Derrick Rose MVP era, King was the ultimate hype man. But his true value really emerged during those grueling, difficult rebuilding years. When the basketball itself was incredibly hard to watch, King was often the sole reason fans didn't change the channel. He carried the entertainment value of an entire franchise on his back, literally making bad seasons fun through sheer charisma. So, I want to leave you with this to reflect upon. The next time the Bulls take the court, how will this silence in that broadcast booth shape our memory of the man who gave Chicago its voice? Stacey King was a champion, a broadcaster, and a deeply, deeply beloved figure. His legacy is permanently cemented, not just in the rafters, but in the living rooms of millions.